Plymouth street pastors and every street pastor group in the country are there on the streets to provide God's unconditional, non-judgmental love, care and support to anyone that needs it, however we can. It's basically a team effort. There are three components to that team. One is the street pastors themselves. Second, probably more important than the street pastors, is our wonderful prayer pastors who pray for us back at base, and we phone back with specific prayer requests in sometimes emergency situations, and our prayer pastors pray, and within minutes we see prayers answered. And the third part of that partnership, therefore, of course, is God himself, who answers those prayers in staggering ways.
My friend and I were having a chat, and he did ask, "Do you know what a street pastor is?" I said no, and he said, "Why not come along and see what it's like? You might like it." And then I did go along, and I haven't turned back since.
I think it's because I've got young children, or young lads, and it was nice to be able to think that if it was my children or somebody else's children, I was actually doing something useful to help them out there. Talking about it is all fine and well, but actually getting out and doing it, and I've always been a bit of a doer, so it's just difficult when we're out sometimes because we do come across difficult situations, but it's very rewarding to know that by the end of our patrol we've done something to help at least one person.
I can think of a situation we had down on Plymouth Barbican, where we found a lady who was absolutely collapsed. We couldn't even get water into her to try and sober her up. We said to her, "We're going to go through your pockets, see if we can find some ID." We couldn't get any ID. We found a phone, but the phone was out of battery, so we couldn't get hold of anyone that had just phoned or texted her. And so there we were, stuck at 2 o'clock in the morning with this lady who was just unconscious. So we phoned the prayer pastors and said, basically, "Help, this is the situation." They prayed, and within 90 seconds, 2 policewomen walked around the corner. And guess what? They knew this lady. They knew her name, they knew her address, and they said to us, "We've got a van down the road, would you like us to take her home for you?" And we said, "Oh yeah, we'd like you to take her home for us."
The majority of policing now is looking at vulnerability, is looking at safeguarding, and the street pastors give that on a nighttime economy, so they are the ones there that are our go-to, I suppose. So if we've got somebody who's vulnerable, somebody who just needs some help, they might not be a victim of crime, and actually a police officer in uniform isn't the best person to speak to. They just need some form of help to prevent them being vulnerable. There are street pastors there they have endless patience. They will sit there, they will listen to people without bias, without prejudice. They will assist them with some of the basics, with water, with flip-flops, with a silver blanket to keep them warm, whatever it might be. So actually what they're doing is they are preventing that person from potentially becoming a victim of crime.
So I offered to come and help to pray because I'm not fit enough to go out on the streets. Okay, well we'll pray for her.
Okay, but if you could pray for her, yes please, Tasha.
Tasha.
Okay, Tasha, thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Bye. It's just the interaction with the street pastors and the ability to just pray instantly and see results. It's absolutely amazing, the things that happen. Just pray that he will be able to get on with his mate's girlfriend and that she will be tolerant of him in this situation. Phone calls will come in and we will pray, and immediately, quite often we get a response. Sometimes we even have a response before we actually pray, and it's just completely beyond our belief, really, how quickly God acts in those circumstances.
Constantly we see the Lord interfere in many incidents. We had a young lad that was disabled and he couldn't find his way home, and we prayed that he would have some money to get the taxi, and somebody who knew him come by and gave him £10, so we got him home safely.
So I remember a time when there was a young girl really drunk in a bus shelter, and they just couldn't get into her phone because She couldn't remember how to swipe the number in. And just while we prayed for her, then her father actually phoned, and they were able to answer the phone and arrange for him to come and pick her up. And so that was just completely and utterly amazing.
Very often when we're on the streets, people come up to us and they'll say, "Which church are you from?" expecting us to say one church or the other. And we're very glad to say all of them, because our team so far has been recruited over the years from 48 local churches.
I think knowing that we're making a difference, particularly when we come across vulnerable people who you know that if you weren't there, their situation would be much worse.
I've seen street pastors visibly calm people down. Again, it means that police officers don't have to intervene. The last thing we want to do is to intervene. I want people to go out, enjoy themselves and be safe. And you see street pastors doing that all the time, interacting with homeless people. Unfortunately, the nighttime economy draws in homeless people, and even more unfortunate, they quite often become victims of crime. They're there on the streets, they're very vulnerable. Street pastors will interact with them, we'll talk to them, we'll give them some advice, whatever it might be.
The street pastors are amazing. They're wonderful. They're amazing for us to have. They keep us. They make us be able to do our jobs. We have someone who's really drunk or kind of needs help in, like a vulnerable woman. They help us out. They allow us to continue doing our jobs inside, protecting their customers while they look after someone else that needs help in. Yeah, they're amazing. We'll be able to do my job without them.
It's easy to sit in your church and be in your comfort zone, but it's very important that we try and get out of the church building and just serve the way that we should be serving.
It's the best thing I've ever done as a Christian. Come and be a street pastor. You know it makes sense. It will change your life. You can change somebody else's.